Live on WFLA Now. This is Run for Fun with running enthusiast Lee Spann.
All right, let's go. Welcome back to the Stream Center for this week's episode of Run for Fun. We designed this show to help you find the joy in running. There's so much pressure to go hard or go home, right? And push yourself every time you exercise or basically do anything. So it's important to remember how lucky we are that we get to push our bodies and learn to enjoy that daily movement. So I'm your host, meteorologist Lee Spann at WFLA in Tampa, but I've also been an avid runner for about 14 years now. And the longer I run, the more I wish I could go back to that former self and tell them, slow down. And that means that quite literally, slow down your run, but also slow down figuratively and enjoy it, because those personal records and when you race don't come as often as they used to, and you got to learn to love the process. That's what keeps adding joy. So one of the people teaching me that, of course, Coach Maria. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you today, Lee?
I'm doing great. I mean, we got late May, low humidity.
I know.
This is
the track was so beautiful this morning.
Treat.
It got hot quickly around here. Is that normal?
So we did spike. So I think the heat index on Saturday was like 108, and it's one of the earliest that we've been quite that hot. But
I saw 77 dew point over here.
It was rough.
And that's not usually till August, right?
Well, it sticks in August.
Yeah.
This time of the year, especially right before a cold front, you can get a surge of moisture. So it's like, okay, this is terrible. And then the cold front comes through like it did on Sunday night, and we get a whole week.
The good point to it is that this morning, everybody was like, oh my gosh, it feels so good, 65. And like a month ago, everybody was like, oh, 65 is so hot. So it's
get acclimated
all relative.
To it.
It's all
certainly
relative.
is. All right, Coach, speaking of running in the humidity, of course, we have our Run for Fun Strava group, which now has about 290 members. So those of you who are on Strava, go to the clubs, go to the groups, and find WFLA Run for Fun, because we're really using this as a way to keep people motivated and enjoy it. You know, you can ask questions, and we have a challenge.
It's been quiet lately, but so now we're going to have to, spice it up a little bit. And since it is nice and humid in June, we decided to call it the Juicy June Challenge. So don't be afraid to get juicy.
and this is, I mean, when you first see this can seem like a really big challenge, but you can break it up. So 200, we're asking you to do 200 miles in the month of June, 30 days.
So the cool part about this time of year is that it's a great time to base build for like fall races. So you want to put all that aerobic capacity in the bank, and there's no better way to do it than to just run easy and get in those like zone 2, low zone 3 runs.
Or
walks or biking. Like biking is a great way to get zone 2 in, because you can bike for, an hour and a half to 2 hours if you want to. And it's not going to hurt your joints and your muscles quite as much. So, get on your bike, try some new things, just record it on Strava, because 200 seems like a lot of miles. I know, but it has to be a little bit challenging for it to be a challenge. So, get out there, see if you can get in those 200 miles and just record everything. Your walks, your runs, your bikes, even a swim. You can put in swims. That counts. Just, you got to get the mileage in there.
And that means I'm going to have to pump up the tires in my bicycle.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to have to.
It has been sitting in the garage, so idling pretty there.
There's nothing like biking in the summer, though. You get that natural breeze. It's a great time to get out on the bike.
All right, so everyone join in. You can ask questions. You can tell us about how juicy it felt on your ride, because we're not going to, of course, right when June starts is when the humidity starts climbing. June 1st, we're going to see that temperature, that humidity start really climbing.
And just remember, when you add the mileage, you got to add the food. You got to add more food.
And electrolytes.
Yeah.
Please, please, please.
Yes. Don't just go out there and start hammering 200 miles on the same calories you do on, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. And electrolytes, salt.
Lots of salt. If you like to salt your food, this is the time
of year.
Well, actually, I wanted to talk about in a past couple of episodes, we've talked about running for charities.
Yep.
And we wanted to invite Flavia Gillis to join us here, because she has recently finished all 6 world major marathons by raising thousands and thousands of dollars for different charities. So welcome.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about how you found the love for running.
So it was back in 2012, 2013. I actually needed a challenge. And I started from zero. I started not being able to run 30 seconds. So while my kids used to play football or soccer in the park, I started training. And I remember that literally I couldn't make it 30 seconds without thinking I was going to die.
We've all been there.
Exactly. So I started from the very beginning and I built up to a 5K. And I ran a 5K for a little while. But I'm competitive, and I saw the 10K shirts next to me in races. So I want to go a little bit beyond. Made it to a 10K, eventually to a half. And then I was curious to know what's up with the full.
About how long did it take you to go from the 5K to a full? I mean, that seems like you went pretty quickly.
So actually I did, and I shouldn't have. If you asked me to talk to myself back then, I would have waited longer. So I started 2012, 2013 for a 5K, and in 2015 I did my first full. I wasn't ready, but I just thought, oh, why not? I should just try, but I should have prepared myself better.
Everybody says that. They're like, oh, 5K, if I can do a 5K, it's just, a few more miles more. Yeah. You do have to train properly for a marathon. But Flavia came to one of my first track practices. She's been coming for years now. So she joined the track, and it's been kind of fun.
Yeah. So I learned so much.
Yeah, so how did you find out about a track session? I mean, as someone who just kind of started running out of,
a neighbor just told me there's a track nearby, and I didn't even know what exactly track was. I was like, sure, I'll show up. And it was transformational.
Yeah.
And not only that, right? Running, it's really a lifestyle. So the running community becomes your second family.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just the sport you do in the morning, you go back and it's done. It's something that you're part of that community.
You spend a lot of hours with some of those people.
Oh, yeah. We cry and laugh together.
Yeah.
You go through the tough times.
That whole group that started in Wesley Chapel is all really, really close still, even though we don't have that Wesley Chapel track as often. But we did just start it back up again. So they're very, very close. So it's been fun to watch over the years.
So what was your first marathon?
My first marathon was Space Coast.
Okay.
And I dislike it so much that I haven't been back to Cocoa Beach since.
It's always hot there. Space Coast is always hot.
Yeah. The very first thing I said when I was like, maybe I want to do a marathon, someone said, just don't do it in Florida. And you can get really cool days, but you can also get really hot days, and they can be very, very difficult.
And the only reason that I continue, I was thinking, if there is someone out there that is doing it and they enjoy it, I'm doing something wrong. I know I can improve and I can do it better. So I tried a second. It was also horrible, which was Disney. It's like 80 degrees. Yeah. So I kept trying until I was like, okay, I get it. I know what it is now. And I can stay here until I complete some that I feel like it would make me happy, which I thought was just New York.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. When I did New York, which was in 2017, I didn't even know what the world majors were. I did New York because I wanted to run New York.
Yeah. I just think that's a great mindset. It's like if someone is enjoying this, then it's not that I'm bad, it's that I'm not doing it right. I need to figure out. I mean, that is a very positive, not inward looking like, oh, something's wrong with me or something's wrong with them. Yeah. It's if it can be enjoyed, let me figure out how to do it. I think that is beautiful.
Well, she has one of the best mindsets that I've had as a coach. Like she takes it like it comes to her, and she just you are very positive.
Yeah, thank you.
So why New York? Why was that sort of the thing that you wanted to do?
Because I just like New York as a city, and I just been watching that over the social media and over TV, and then I just thought it was a fascinating race, and I wanted to be part of that energy.
Is that your favorite one?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, yeah.
Boston is my favorite.
Yeah.
But New York was my favorite for years.
So did you have to run with a charity for New York City?
No, actually, New York, I ran to represent United Airlines.
Oh, no, how did that work?
2 years in a row. So back then, I used to travel a lot for work, and I used to have a high status with United, and United is one of the sponsors. So they invited me, which I honestly thought was like a joke somehow. Yeah. Like, I know at some point I'm going to click, it's going to say, thanks for trying. So I got a bib number, and I was like, okay, this is really happening. And this was until like September. and the race is in November.
Yeah.
And back then, I used to just train and not train again, and train and not train again.
That's what I
like I
used to
said, a
do.
lot of things I learned throughout the years. And even when I went to the expo to pick up my bib, I get into the line and they look up and they didn't have my bib. And I'm like, oh my God.
It was all a joke.
Was that a language
Oh,
barrier? Maybe I didn't read this correctly. Maybe I'm not
right.
supposed to be here. And then somebody came up and said, hey, wait, you're a special guest. You go over there. There was a red carpet. I
Special.
still get chills when I remember. I walk in this beautiful place with a red carpet, and there was my bib.
I am.
That's so special.
Blows my
I know.
mind.
I don't think I heard this story before.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So 2 years New York, and I thought that was going to be it.
So what did you like about New York? Like did you enjoy, I guess, did you
loved it.
enjoy the 26.2 miles?
I loved it.
And what was the difference, do you think? The weather?
Well, the weather and the crowd.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the whole atmosphere, right? The whole thing around that weekend, it's just magical. And then everybody in the track was putting in a lottery for Chicago. I was like, sure. And then I got picked for Chicago. I was like, oh, Chicago now.
And now are you starting to realize the world majors?
Yeah, then I
Okay.
start hearing it's a world major. And then I start, but back then I used to think, not Tokyo or Berlin or even Boston. I like maybe just the two. And then I got picked to the lottery for Berlin.
Oh, you did get lucky.
Yeah, she got lucky.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what I wanted. Why I wanted to have Flavia on today, because we are very lucky. That have been running for a while. We've been in a lot of lotteries, but now it's very difficult to get into these world majors because kind of word has caught on, and people want to do the world majors now, and people are qualifying more for Boston. So Boston is getting more difficult to get into. I had, I think, 2 people out of like 26 that applied for Chicago get in, that's kind of New York numbers. New York's very difficult to get in. You usually have to do charity.
I mean, didn't they say this year 4% were in with the lottery? So,
and that's only going to get worse. So we're gonna, if you're gonna want to do these world majors, you're gonna have to be able to raise money.
Yeah.
and it's not a small amount of money.
Yeah.
No, but it's also not a given. You have to be accepted
Yeah.
by the charity, which is
Yeah.
another process, which I didn't know it was there.
So after you ran New York twice, and then you ran Chicago, and then both of those you got in without a charity. So what was the first charity race that
It
you
was
ran?
Tokyo,
Okay.
which was a completely different experience than Boston. In Tokyo, I read whenever they're going to open the registration for charities, and I saw what time it was going to be here in Eastern time, which was like, I don't know, 10, 11 p.m. or whatever the time was. So I made sure that I put my alarm. And as soon as they open, I registered. So first you register as a charity runner. After you accepted, you select your charity.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then you prepay. So you go ahead and you pay the full amount up front
For the charity or
for the charity.
Oh, wow.
So-
Yeah, but it was only $1,000.
Oh, well, that's not
Okay,
Yeah.
not because a lot of these charities are 10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
12,000, yeah.
I think it has changed a lot since.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
really
COVID.
not that. That's really not that long of a time.
No, it was
between the-
2019.
Yeah, between 5 years.
So
now.
basically you pay up
Right.
front for the charity and then you get reimbursed?
Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, because then you just recover the money, which first I used the GoFundMe
yeah.
because they didn't have the sites set up just yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this
Crazy.
was 2019 to run in 2020, which then it was canceled, and I didn't get to run until last year, 2023.
Oh.
So it took me 4 years to
Yeah,
really complete.
crazy.
Well, yeah, because then you're scheduled to go to the other side of the world, and you have to figure out a time that works with your life to get you back on the other side of the world.
Exactly, yeah.
So you've sent in some pictures, and so what are we looking at with you cooking and hosting? What worked here?
So here was the charity for Boston. So when I only had Boston left, which I was considered a 6-star hopeful, this was my title as I was searching for my last star. So when I was accepted to run Boston, I had to submit a plan for the charity, and it started with $10,000. And in my plan, I had bake sale, asking for friends, and maybe coming up with some kind of yoga classes or something. It was like 12 different items. And I was rejected by 12 different charities in October.
12 different.
12.
I mean, there were a lot of tears shed.
Yes, exactly. I was just like getting no. But I did go back and I asked, can you please share feedback. And the feedback was, a couple of them said your application could have been stronger, which I had no idea exactly what the standard was. I said, okay, I'll take that. But one was people are offering more money.
Oh, okay.
So people were bidding 12, 13,
So above what they require.
exactly,
Oh.
the minimum. In January, Project Hope called me and said, I have extra bibs if you're still willing to raise the money, which then we had a lot less time to raise. I said, yes, I'll take it.
You had like not very much time at all. How much time did you have?
When I actually started, I had about a couple months
Yeah.
to raise all this money.
And train for the race, because it's
Yes.
the whole time.
Yes.
You're also training to run 26.2 miles while
Yeah.
having to fundraise.
Oh, yeah,
Thankfully,
yeah.
she was already in good shape. Like she
Because
keeps
I
a
was
pretty
training
good-
for
yeah.
Morocco, because I went to Morocco to run the race. That's why I was there taking this cooking class. So I was about to leave to Morocco when I was accepted for Boston. And I was like, okay, so now I have to start asking for money. Well, I'm here traveling, so awkward. How am I going to do this? So I was not only super short to get to raise these funds, but I was going to lose 2 weeks traveling. I had already booked this cooking lesson. And as I was there cooking, I had the idea. I said, what if when I come back, I would just offer to host a Moroccan night and share with people what I have learned here? And I asked my husband, just take pictures of me cooking, like right now, make some videos. And he was like, but who would you invite? I said, I don't know. We'll talk about it later. Just do some videos. I have some ideas.
So creative.
Yeah, it's great.
So I got back to the hotel, sorted all the pictures, and posted a video on Instagram. I said, guys, I'm here in Morocco right now, and I would like to cook the meal that I just learned at the house of this lady. And if you come, I can host between 6 to 8 people, $50 a plate, and I'll cook dinner for you.
And tell them how many spices you bought.
Okay, so so to make the main dish, there are 41 different spices.
Oh,
And I did tell them, if you book the dinner while I'm here in Morocco, I'll go to the Medina, which is the old market, and I will buy a pottery, handmade it for you. So I sold out 5 dinners, which I was still in Morocco. At first, I was like, one dinner, just to help
Yeah.
get started. So many people started. I want it for my girlfriends. I want it with my family. I want it with my friends. Can you come here? So then I told my husband, now we have a problem. How are we going to carry all this pottery?
Yeah.
Because I brought the pots to cook, plus the potteries to give as souvenirs during the dinner. And the spices, of course.
and yeah, so
And to be fair, Flavia is super talented at coordinating dinners, and she's the hostess with the mostest. I mean, she is like so good at it.
Thank you. I started cooking, I was only 12. My grandmother used to say, if you want to be a good wife, you need to know how to cook.
Your
and
grandmother.
your husband agrees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She is a very
Absolutely.
good cook.
So I started putting these dinners together. And from the moment that I came back from Morocco to when the race started, I had 1 to 2 events every single weekend. So, and the events, it takes a lot to put it together because I work during the day. So I had the evenings to prepare. So it takes about 6 to 8 hours to actually prepare everything because I had to print the menus. And I bought the outfits. You can see in the picture right there that I bought in the Medina. I had 2 different outfits. So I need to coordinate the nail polish and the hair and make sure that it was a full experience for the guests.
And she
Right.
also made her family help, and her family was all in it. And so it was a cool
Yeah.
thing to watch.
It was a combined effort.
Yeah.
And also one of our friends that run in the track as well, her husband made a charcuterie board. And I asked her to make some videos of him selecting the woods and actually making it. And I used that as a raffle item at the end of all dinners. And that raised 8% of the money of the charity.
So what did you get to 10,000 or did you actually get?
My goal ended up being 7,500
Okay.
because I started so late.
Okay.
And I got 8,300.
Congratulations.
8,400.
Yeah, congratulations.
amazing.
That's in a couple of weeks, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
Couple months, using all the weekends. There was a total of 8 events. 7 of them were dinner, and 1 was pasta making class, which was a lot of fun. A pasta making class where people come in and they make pasta from scratch. And one of the participants there, he has celiac, so it was completely gluten free. So I had to make a special station for him and make sure that nothing was contaminated. So he had his own tools, everything separate. Although at the end of the day, my kitchen looked like there was a bomb that exploded. There was flour everywhere.
The flour gets everywhere. But you cleaned it up nicely for the picture. Everybody got their little raviolis. Is that what you made?
We did. We made raviolis and fettuccine, and then 2 different sauces. So they also learned how to make the sauces. And then afterwards, we just sat outside and we just enjoyed a meal together.
So if someone was, because this was something I wouldn't have known, if you're applying for a charity, by saying, I'm going to do something like this, do you think more charities would choose you because it's more than just bake sales? It's like this whole experience you're giving people?
Probably, but in my plan, this was not there because I didn't know this was going to become a thing.
Yeah.
I think the reality of it is when you're trying to raise $10,000 to $13,000, you have to get creative because there's only, I mean, you got to ask for money, but there's only so many bake sales you can do. There's only so many times you can post on Facebook and you have to get creative. And the cool part was people were I watched people get so excited about these classes and they felt like they were a part of Flavia's journey, which was actually making it more fun for Flavia too. So it wasn't just, relentless, please give me money, please give me money, please give me money. It was, she was giving back too, and she was giving back her time.
Yeah.
And it was really neat to watch Flavia.
And giving an experience to, because was there a reason you went to Morocco
So Morocco has always been very fascinating to me, and I would like to have a medal from each continent. And then I picked Morocco as my African medal. So this had been already in the plan since before COVID. And there was cancellations. And then this year I was able to do it. It came perfect. Everything was aligned that I was there with this idea. But it was interesting because, to your point, the Moroccan cuisine, is well known around the world, but it's kind of hard to find. Right? So it was an experience that I was offering to the guests to come over and try something, like if you think about the Arabic and the Berber culture together with the influence of South Europe, putting together into these 3 main dishes that I was serving.
Now, what were the main dishes?
So it was a lemon chicken tagine, which the lemon is called preserved lemon. So it's easy to make. It's just lemon and salt, but it takes 90 days. So I brought from Morocco with me because I wouldn't have had time to make it. And then vegetable tagine, and then I had couscous. And there is a store near the house that they have some of the products, so I could get like fresh pita bread made every day. The mint tea, I learned how to make and to pour mint tea. So everywhere you get into Morocco, they serve you mint tea, and they have to pour from the very top, and it has to bubble. That means that you are welcome in that place.
Oh, neat.
So I was dressed up every guest that arrived. I give them the experience and trying the tea and then having the dinner. So the whole thing was an experience. And to your point, people enjoyed and they came back for other dinners.
Oh, they were booking them. And I was like, Flavia, you could have your own little business. She's like, no, this is a lot of work. But what a cool business that would be if you didn't have to work full time.
If that was your business.
I mean, people were like, hey, would you do this for my friends at work? Will you do this for a bunch of our couple friends? And I'm like, who wouldn't want to do that? $50 a plate and actually learn something.
So did you run out of the spices? Did you somehow have to go and get more of the spices, or did you bring home enough?
So I brought enough.
Okay.
I would have for a couple other dinners. I had no idea I was going to need that many. Yeah. I still have a little bit, but I had so many that I said it will be like 6 months before I have Moroccan food again.
You ate a lot of it.
Is Moroccan food spicy?
It's not spicy. It's aromatic.
Okay.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so it's not hot at all. Even like my husband and I would like to eat hot food. And in Morocco, we had to actually ask for them to bring heat so we can add to the food because most food is actually kind of sweet.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
What would be like the most similar to Moroccan food here?
Here, I can't think. But maybe Lebanese food.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Lebanese.
Lebanese also use a lot of the spices and the pita bread. And
that's yummy.
Everything,
I love Lebanese food.
We'll have to go next time.
I know. I wanted to, but I was in Jacksonville, and every single weekend didn't work for me. But I was like dying to go to one of these.
Yeah, in 6 months' time, you can come.
When you're ready to make it again. All right. So now we have the pictures of you with Boston, your final 6, and then all of the medals from all 6 world major marathons. So, walk us through how that feels when you realize that you're one of the 11,000 people in the world who's ever done it.
I know this was absolutely incredible, and it still takes time to sink, because like I said, I started from nothing, not really knowing how to run. I think I'm a good example for somebody that is out there that would like to run but don't know how to start. Could I do it? Yes, everybody can do it. If I can do it, if I was there crossing that finish line, everybody can do it. You just need to focus and do it. The thing with the charity, it changed completely the view. Like you mentioned, people were part of the journey, right?
Yeah.
It was not just me. Other marathons, it's almost very centric. I sign up, I train, I go in and do it, and it's over with. This wasn't me. It was the community. It was everybody together. And then as a result, we helped hundreds of people that were in need. And the day that I arrived in Boston, we actually had a brunch at Project Hope with my teammates, and we got to meet people that have benefited from the charity, and they shared their stories. And I remember that I was so nervous when I arrived in Boston because everything is so big, right?
Yeah.
It's so big, and I was so intimidated. And when I listened to the stories and I knew why I was there, I knew there was a purpose, and everything changed. And it was just very magic to be there and know that I'm here to accomplish this for myself, but it was a very small portion of it. I'm giving so much to the community because my friends came together and we were able to put this. And to earn that medal, it's, like I said, it's a small thing for me, but what that meant to the community was huge.
And what is Project Hope? What is its main focus?
So it helps women and children in need in the Boston area.
Okay, it's for specifically for Boston. That's great.
Yeah.
And I do think that you're right. One time, a long time ago, a friend of mine says, running is so selfish. First of all, you're spending a lot of time alone and away from people. But this is a way where running is not selfish. It's exactly the opposite. You're running all of these miles because you're helping out one of these charities that sometimes that's the only, this is how they are able to stay afloat.
It's my best friend, she's run with the Liver Foundation for Boston many years. I think maybe 5 or 6 years. And she always invited me because I was her coach, but she would invite me to the banquets. And I know I'm emotional, but I would cry a lot of times because I just couldn't believe the amount of money that these people raise and how much it helps people. It is not, it's a hard job to do, but it's so necessary.
And I just saw someone posted $40 million raised for during the Boston Marathon. So, and how much did your Project Hope?
So our team this year, we raised $164,000.
And that goes so far. Those charities know how to stretch every single dollar. So imagine just getting that windfall every year from these charities.
Exactly.
I mean, from these runners.
It also can help you with mindset. When you're training, sometimes we can get kind of like, oh, this is so hard. But when you're doing it for other people, it feels less hard. I have never in my life seen anybody smile for as many miles as Flavia did in Boston. Like her smile, I mean, she had the best time.
I did.
And it's so funny because Boston's like that one race where people are like, oh, we should get rid of charities. And I'm like, no way. Like it is the amount of money they raise. And it is just, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful thing. We never want to get rid of that.
Yeah. No, you're right. And you call me because we always do like the plan right before the race. And you ask me, what is your plan? What is your goal? How can we build your plan? And I told you, I just want to enjoy and I want to have fun. And that was exactly it.
Yeah, she did. I mean, literally every picture. I'm like, Flavia, just pretend like it's hard a little bit.
So so when you traveled to Berlin and when you traveled to Tokyo, did the travel bother you?
Not really. Tokyo, I was expecting it was going to bother me most because it's so far, but I got there 12 days before the race.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. So I was totally used to the time zone by that time. And I totally enjoyed being part of that as well. I did take language and culture classes before, so I could communicate a little bit with the locals.
Yeah.
So it was cool. However, I was injured. You remember the drama?
Yeah, it was a little bit of drama. But
yeah. I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish, but I thank God did finish, and it was just stressful, but it was okay.
Worked out. Which was your favorite one?
Boston.
Boston was definitely your favorite.
Definitely, yeah.
And that was because of the
charity. Yeah, I wouldn't do it again because I would never be able to replicate what we accomplished together this one time.
Yeah,
I would go back and volunteer, but I wouldn't do this again. It would never be this special.
That's awesome. That's also another good way to look at it. Like, I
Yes.
can't replicate it, because a lot of people are like, let me do it again. I want to replicate it. And then they get disappointed because it's not the same. But that's
Right.
awesome.
And one of the things that, you were saying the difference between when you ran for charity that was $1,000 and then just a few years later it was $10,000. So, Maria, I know you have a lot of clients and runners who want to run these, and getting into the lottery is harder. Getting
getting
chosen
harder,
for
yeah.
a charity is harder.
Yep.
So what do you as far as getting people in the right mindset when they do these things?
I mean, you have to know that if this is a goal, that you're going to have to be able to pony up some money. Like, that's the way it is. And we don't always have, people just don't have $10,000 hanging around. It can be really uncomfortable to ask people for money, but I think one benefit is picking a charity that you really believe in. Which can be hard when you're applying to all these charities, because
Right.
you're like, not that there aren't a million charities that can use you anyway, but it makes it easier to ask for money. Like, I did Ironman for the Alzheimer's Association, because my grandmother had Alzheimer's and she actually died of Alzheimer's. And that was actually felt kind of easy to raise $5,000 because it was a cause that I cared about. It would be a lot more difficult to do it for a charity that wasn't close to your heart. So when you're looking, try to find one that's close to your heart. And then, they're not all $10,000 or $13,000. Boston is pretty, you got to raise 13,000 now. It used to be 10. But New York's more in the 3 to 5 range. Chicago can be 1 to 3. So if you want to do it now before it starts getting up there.
Because getting in by registration is getting so much harder.
Yeah, qualifying times are getting harder in New York. It's just because the sheer number of people that are listening to podcasts and learning from coaches and how to do
How to
nutrition
eat,
correctly,
yes.
and people are getting faster, and that's a great thing, but that makes it more competitive. So you're going to have to be prepared.
So, Flavia, what advice do you have for people as they are getting ready to run one of these world majors, and they applied to be a charity runner? Like, what should they be thinking about?
They should be thinking about to focus on a goal and be persistent. Like, I followed up with every charity that I apply. I asked for feedback. Come up with a realistic plan. Ask your friends to share. A lot of the donations that I got were from people that I didn't know. I would just ask, would you please share in your Instagram or in your Facebook? Just put my page out there. People would. 40 minutes later, I would get either anonymous or a donation from somebody I didn't know. So you need to ask them to help you on the journey. So don't be afraid to ask. It's not for you, it's for a cause. It's different than, fund me for me to do something. This is to help a cause. And to your point, find something that is relevant to you.
Yeah, and use your talents. Like,
Yeah.
that's the cool thing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we as runners get kind of hyper-focused on running, and what a great way to, develop other skills and use your other creative things that you can do, and not just be about running. You find your talents that are outside of running and try to bring them together to make some money, and it'll be more fun for you. And if it's more fun for you to do it, like, I think Flavia had a lot of fun doing this, even though it was a lot of hard work. It was.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. Because I like to cook and I like to
Yeah.
host. And then the training became a small percentage of everything that was happening. Like, oh, hold on a second. I'm going to go run my 18 miles and I'll be back and I'll continue cooking. So
That's
it's
what I
just
was
like-
wondering. How early did you have to get up on a Saturday or Sunday to run 18 miles and then cook a big dinner for 15 people?
So I had a very long project plan that started on Wednesday night. And I had to incorporate the time to run, to recover a little bit, and then what time I need to pick back up. So everything was in the project plan. From I have to do my nails to the point that now let's wash the dishes. So every single step was there. So I wouldn't get lost.
Can you plan my life for me?
Yeah.
That seems so-
I was thinking that too.
That's very, very astute, because
Yes.
it's easy to just jump in and be like, okay, and then 2 or 3 in the morning you're washing the dishes because
Yeah,
you didn't think to do that along the way or whatever it was. And what a way to have a plan so that you
And
were,
she didn't miss her training either. Like, when I was,
Right.
I myself was a little nervous as her coach. Like, when she went to Morocco, I think I even said it to you. I was like, hey, now Flavia, we got to get some long runs in here. And she heard it and was like, that's it. I'm going to do it. And she just got to business. I said, you do your thing in Morocco, but when you get back, it's on. And she was
yeah.
like,
Did you run in Morocco too, though? I mean,
I
just,
did.
Yeah.
I did.
but
yeah.
the long runs are hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she came right into it. I mean, she was great. She's a
It
planner.
was my only train that I didn't miss any day.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
she
was like,
stayed on her
it.
schedule. It was
That
crazy.
is amazing.
Because I knew the course was going to be hard. Every podcast I heard, everybody told me it's going to be the hardest. So I was scared of it. So I had to be very dedicated.
Did the energy though take you over those hills, over Heartbreak Hill? Like, was it as hard when you were out there having fun?
So it wasn't as hard as I thought. I was expecting something that was going to eat me alive. Yeah, I was prepared. But also the key was the people that I met on the brunch, that they shared their experience. And I remember going through, it was a hot day. This year, Boston was hot. So I remember going up the hill, and it was very difficult. And I was thinking, right now, there is a mother that does not know where to take her child tomorrow, where they're going to sleep. And because of what we put together, she's going to be helped. My physical pain was nothing. It was nothing.
Don't make me cry right now, Flavia.
That'll get you to the top of Heartbreak Hill for sure, right?
Yeah,
Because it's like, okay, there's somebody's heart who's actually breaking. I can go a little bit faster up this hill or down this hill.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I
hurt
knew
as
why
much.
I was there.
Yeah.
And I do think that adds just such a different element to running when you're not doing it just for you anymore. I mean,
Exactly. It wasn't about me. It was all the running community here helping me to get ready, and then the community that we helped together when we were there.
And I do think, that you didn't know anything about Project Hope, I'm assuming, before. So once you get into that charity, you start learning, you start hearing about it. I mean, that's when it gets, whether you knew about it before or not. I mean, it becomes something that you're passionate about, because you hear those stories and you get to meet the people who were literally helped by the runners' fundraising.
No, absolutely.
And it was relatable to her because she's a mom.
Yes.
So I think anything, you can always find something in somebody else's story that you can find to be relatable.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what a
Everything
cool
lined
thing,
up.
Flavia.
We are very proud of you. I mean, what you've been able to put together in what I feel like is just a few years. I mean, you started running not so long ago, and to go from not being able to run a 5K to all 6 world major marathons.
Yeah. How old were you when you started?
12 years ago, I was 34.
Wow. Yeah. See, people think they think it's too late, and I mean, I've had friends that start in their 50s running, and like my old Bart Yasso friend will always say, you have a certain number of miles in your body, and if you start in your 50s,
for a long
you
time.
got a long time to be able to run. So,
Oh, Bart.
don't be afraid.
Yeah.
We're gonna have him on the podcast.
We will. I think sometimes he call like the mayor of running something.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
he's out there making.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. So, coach's drill time. If you've been listening to the podcast, Maria gets to a whole minute to talk about whatever she wants. So today's coach's drill. Don't be afraid to ask for the money.
I mean, I kind of talked about this a little bit already, but don't be afraid to ask for money. Don't be afraid to be a charity runner. And if you do, go all in, because there are so many things these charities have to offer. Don't be the person on the sidelines that like just raises the money and doesn't involve themselves, because when you go to a big race in a charity, a lot of times they'll have group runs where you can meet new people. They have brunches and stuff that you can hear people that you've helped, and the story becomes more alive and more fun for you. And it can be really rewarding if you allow it to be. Don't think of it as a task. Think about it as something that can add to your life and somebody else's. That's what I got.
All right. So, and to Flavia's point, she was getting money from people she didn't know because a friend shared her post. I mean,
Absolutely.
there are good people out there, and
There's
want
a
to
lot
help
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody might have a closer connection than you even have with that. Somebody might, like when I was sharing things for Alzheimer's, there were people I didn't even know that were affected by Alzheimer's that were giving money. So, it can be very mutually beneficial.
And we love those charity runners. Flavia, we're so proud of you.
Thank you.
I hope what did you say you were doing with your 6-star medal? Still sleeping with it?
Oh, yeah. I'm still sleeping with it.
Because it took a lot of time, a lot of effort,
yeah.
and a lot of dedication. So
Absolutely.
Well, Sandy Lake came on a couple weeks ago and
yeah,
told us that there's going to be a 7th star. So are you going for the 7th star?
As of today, I say no.
Yeah, she said I'm retired from marathoning after this.
Oh,
but-
interesting. I was about to ask, so what is another goal for Flavia, or is Flavia going to take a break?
No, so I'm going to focus on half marathons now.
I do
work
love the
on
half
something
marathon
like that.
distance.
Exactly.
It
That's my
does-
favorite distance.
It is also my favorite
It
distance.
is fun.
But every now and then I start getting,
We're not done with your marathon.
No,
yet,
no,
Lee.
exactly.
No.
We're taking
but-
a little break because I'm already like, oh, I missed those 18
Yeah,
milers.
like, you're not done yet, Lee. Sorry. I'll know when you're done.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you. I mean, what you've done for these charities, amazing. Thank you for all you do for all of us, Maria. And we'll see
We
y'all-
have
thank you.
fun.
Yeah, we're keeping it fun, right? All right.
That's right.
See y'all next week.
Bye.
Thank you.